Hey everybody, this is Aeroica. Thanks so much for stopping by to watch another video. So today on the forums they made another news announcement, and this one was dealing with 3 upcoming inclusive changes that will be added to the game with the new update that's supposed to be happening sometime soon. No time frame's been given, so we don't know when these little cool things are going to be added, but we're at least going to be able to talk about them a little bit using some of the information they gave to us. The 3 things that they're going to add, at least thus far, is going to be Evo combining, the Tower of Ponage, which I am really looking forward to, and the addition of guilds, which will allow a little more social community networking to occur within the game. Let's go ahead and take a look at this and see what they're going to offer us. So the first new update feature that I'd like to talk about is the ability to combine EVOs. And basically what they're doing here is giving you an opportunity to do something with what possibly may be for you, at least it is for me in some cases, having an unusable inventory of certain types of larvae or other evos that maybe aren't doing anything because you've already ascended all of your other heroes or the ones that use them, and we need to do something else with them. So this basically lets you take that inventory and turn it into something else. And that's not in all cases, because it may have nothing to do with the fact that you've already ascended them. It may just be because you're working on a particular hero and you keep getting a particular kind of larva that you're not 100% interested in at this moment. So it will give you an opportunity to do something different with it and be able to ascend something that you really want. So when you click on your hero, you will come to according to them, come to a window that looks like this. And you'll notice on the upper left-hand side, there's a button that says Combine Evos. When you click on that, it will take you to a window that looks like this. And you'll notice we have 2 tabs, Evos and Celestial. Obviously, they're split up. So in this particular case, if we want to create a nature evo, we would need 10 of the larvae and 10,000 gold. And once we combine them, we would be able to create one of those particular kind of evos that we're looking for. And so in the recipe example that they gave, 10 larvae plus 10,000 gold would make 1 evo, and 10 evos plus 25,000 gold would make 1 monarch. So you see that the ratio is there and what you would have to do it. But you consider the fact that, like, I currently have, in some cases, like 150 of these particular larvae that I'm not doing anything with. So it might be good to, be able to make these into something else where I might be able to use them. When we talk about Celestial Evos, the system is basically the same. It's just going to be a different recipe. So in this case, what we have for common Celestials, they want various quantities of monarchs, 100,000 gold, and 20 gems was the example that they gave to be able to produce a common Celestial Evo. In cases of rare Celestial Evos, which is what is displayed on screen currently, you'll need various quantities of the monarchs, and in some cases various quantities of other Celestial Evos. You'll have to provide 500,000 in gold and then 70 gems to get that to occur. So now we're starting to, we saw that there was gold being used ahead of time, so you kind of knew that there's going to be some in-game currency to have to be used. I mean, it makes sense. But in either case, so 70. When you consider the fact that if you look in the shop and some of them have these evos that are for sale for up to 800 gems for a particular one, and then as low as 200 or 250 for one of the less or more common ones, this is probably not too bad, especially if you're already sitting on this inventory in the first place. So if you can build it, then being able to get a rare one you need when you've got all the common ones already there is pretty much a pretty good bargain, other than buying it from the shop. I think this is going to be a really good update component, and I say that not only for the flexibility of having an inventory that you can keep track of now, but also for the sense that if there's just, and I've run into this, where there's some particular rare Celestial Evils that are just like such a pain to come by. If I had some flexibility where I could use an inventory like I've got to be able to create the ones that I need and achieve the ascensions that I'm looking for, I have to say that's pretty awesome. I'm actually really happy with that. It doesn't seem overly expensive. at this point. At least looking at these numbers, it doesn't seem unachievable or completely out of line. And the gold's maybe a little hard to come by, I think, sometimes. I mean, I don't know, 500,000, maybe not too bad. The gems, I'm not even, to me, not overly bad in being able to achieve that, to use that to get a rare Evo. When consider I've run dungeons just numerous amounts of times trying to get the one that I want, and not be able to get it. So if I can build my own and take everything that I get as a possibility to being able to recipe my way to achievement, I'm good with that. So this is going to be good. I'm really looking forward to it. So the next major facet of this update is going to be the addition of guilds into the dungeon boss game. And this will provide a social component that's a little more privatized and outside of the normal public chat that we've seen here. Their goal was to give a little more camaraderie and a little private area for friends to be able to talk and chat with each other that's not open to the public. So the guilds system, at least as it comes from my experience, I have never, to be honest with you, I've never been a major fan of them. I've done all kinds of raiding in World of Warcraft and been in high-end raiding guilds, 6th on the server, all the way down to just, noob little farming guilds that, were available. And one thing has always been a constant, whether you're elite or you're just screwing around having fun with your friends, drama is always present in online gaming guilds, and it is a number one killer of satisfaction in a game. And I have to say, for me at least, I've always been, one thing I really liked about this game was, and I am cautious to say this, the isolation part of it. I kind of enjoyed getting on and not having to worry about paying attention to guild chat. Now, obviously, I still have that option. I don't have to join a guild if I don't want to. But there may be some cool things here that's going to make that a little more difficult to do. So we're really going to have to just kind of see how this goes. But so I can't say initially that I'm overly excited about the addition of guilds, because at this point I could honestly care less. But I am interested in seeing what it is that they're going to do with it and how it's going to be implemented into the game. So that part I'm really curious about. So let's talk about that for a minute. So when we look at some of the information that's being provided here, it's pretty clear that they're looking to build some sort of a team effort where every member has a vested goal in furthering the guild along. And so there'll be some quests and some achievements that need to be made, and then the guild will earn looks like crowns, which will sort of show off how active their members are and how many achievements have been made. And I think that's good. The question is, if you have somebody who's a vested member and has been there for quite a while, and they've done all this work to help further your guild, what I would really want to know, and I think they did this in the latter part of World of Warcraft, my memory on this is not as good, but just an idea that I thought I remember. If you had somebody in the guild who had done a lot of work, then they sort of had a tie to the guild in the sense that everything that they contributed was tied to them, and then they helped the guild grow. So then if they left the guild, then the guild would lose that stature and those points. So in that case of the game, each guild had a level and there were perks per level, so to speak. So I was kind of hope this to be here, and I say that why I want that so much is because there are guilds who are built on the backs of good players, and then the guild treats the player poorly and then says, okay, now get out, or we're going to kick you out, and then the guild still gets the perks of that person having been there. And I think I would really like to see a place where you don't have this elitist core of people who are going to treat their members like a bunch of jerks and then have them get what they want, and then they're just going to throw them out, and there's no penalty for that. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'm just saying it has happened, and yeah, maybe it probably will happen in some small dark corner of the dungeon boss world. I hope not. I've been on all sides of that. I've led guilds of 150 people back in the heyday of World of Warcraft, and I've done nothing. I've been a little low ranking member, doing things. And so I've seen it all, I think. And I just feel like that's a component of that. But in either case, I digress. I'm looking at where I would hopefully like to see this, where there's a reason to stay, and a reason for the guild to treat their members properly so that they do stay. But anyway, each member will be doing some sort of activity which will gain ranks or gain crowns towards the guild, and this will further the guild. It doesn't say right this moment what exactly is going to be used. It does say that the crowns, every crown that is earned could be spent later on down the road. What I'm guessing, total theory, total 100% guess, total theory, is that these crowns could be used to purchase perks for the guild. So in other words, we might say that everyone who's a member of this guild would get an extra 1% experience towards their heroes. I have no idea. I'm just throwing something out there. Or 1% additional XP that could be gained. Something along those lines is what I'm guessing. Maybe a little extra gold. I don't know. I presume diamonds would probably be worked in there a little bit, but probably at the higher tiers of whatever this the little perks ranks would be. It's probably at the higher end of that. But I think that would be interesting, and that's probably what they're looking at this point. But I don't know what else it could be used for. Probably some sort of perks for the guild, and as long as you're a member of the guild, you would get those perks. So I saved the last component of the update for last because honestly, it's probably, of all the three we've talked about, all the three that are available to talk about, this is probably the one that has me smiling and excited the most. So this is going to be the Tower of Ponage, and I think this is going to be a really neat addition and add a new flavor and a new dimension to the game. And it actually has a couple of underlying design features that I can understand why they do it. And some of this goes back to my observations in PvP. So when we look at this, and nobody knows what this looks like. We have no idea. But in any case, this image seems to indicate this vertical tower. Who knows what it will really look like. But in either case, we will enter in what I assume will look like a dungeon, and you will be presented with probably a very similar card to what you see when you enter a campaign. It will tell you the types of monsters you're going to be getting ready to fight, or the mobs, and then you will design a team that's going to best attack them and with the best advantage for you. So in this case, it looks like the tower is going to consist of 12 different floors. The first floor will be the easiest, and then as you ascend up to number 12, it will get progressively harder. One neat feature that they did is they will allow you access in between floors. So you'll go to floor 1, you'll pick a team for floor 1, you'll knock them out, go to floor 2. But in between that transition from 1 to 2, you'll have an opportunity to pick a different team or swap out members that are best suited to successfully clear floor 2. The interesting caveat to this is, because of course that opens up your entire hero pool, and that's awesome because there may be some team members that are better suited, and that works out great. But what's interesting is that any current condition, so let's say you used a guy on floor 1 and he's damaged and you've used up most of his attacks, whatever the case may be, those regeneration is suspended while you park him to swap him out for another one. So again, floor 1, we use a team member, we use up some of his attacks rather, and they're regaining energy so you can use them again. Maybe he only has 2/3 health at this point, whatever. So you make it through the floor, no big deal. And now you're going to not use that particular hero for floor 2. His current condition, his current status, according to the way this is written, seems to indicate that his health and his energy will be completely suspended. And when you bring him back into a floor again for whatever you're going to use him for, he will come out in nearly the exact same state as when you parked him. So it's not like while he's parked, he's going to be gaining his health back and his energy is going to be resetting. He'll come back exactly as you left him, and it will stay that way for 24 hours or whenever it is that you start your tower ascent, which is really neat. And it's good that they did this, because this is how they're going to get the less favored heroes some playtime. Because if you look at PvP, even for just a brief glance, you're going to run into the same 5 or 6 heroes pretty much all the time. I'm not saying that's the case for everyone. There's the odd bird out there that's doing something different, which is good. I think that's awesome. But for the most part, we always see Tasumi. We always see the same little pack of cookie cutter PvPers that are out there doing stuff, and there's a reason for that. Well, probably because they're good, and probably because people are more familiar with them, and whatever the case may be. And they work. We know that. But in this case, this will at least provide a dimension to the game that will let you do and dust off some of those heroes that are parked down at the bottom of your list and don't get any playtime. This will give you a chance to mess around with them a little bit and use them strategically so you can get to the top. Now, my experience with what a game developer says is really good loot and what is my interpretation of what is really good loot tend to be two vastly different things. But apparently when you get to the top of this tower, there's going to be a boss up there for you to fight. And if you win, you're going to get good loot, according to the text. And I believe the term they used was impressive rewards. And so when I think of impressive rewards, I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be like an amazing amount of diamonds or something that's going to be like, oh, okay, that was totally worth my time to do it. I have no idea what it's really going to be. They probably don't even know what it's really going to be. But at some point, hopefully it'll be worth it. And I hope it is something really good because I really want this to be a playable piece of the game. I really want people, to get to the top of this and then to say, okay, well, here's your one Celestial Evo and, 100,000 gold and that's it. I don't know. Even if I don't have no idea what I'm saying. I mean, 12 floors of battling, it could be, I could think it was not that big of a deal. I could think it was ridiculously hard. If any of you played the last dungeon of the Lord Zom event, it was a very long, tedious type of dungeon. And the one successful recipe for success made it ungodly bearable to do. I think the person that did it was like 45 minutes to get through the end of the dungeon. I have zero desire to do that. None. And for what? For a couple of tokens? Okay, so let's get back to the tower. I don't want to spend, and I'm not judging, but bear in mind, I'm just extrapolating out what I hope impressive rewards really means. We're talking about the definition of impressive rewards. I don't want impressive rewards to be, that. I don't want to have to spend 45 minutes in a dungeon to get 2 tokens. In this case, I don't want to spend 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes, the better part of a day to get to the 12th floor and to be handed something that I probably could have bought from the shop in about 3 seconds. So that's pretty much what I'm saying here. So let's hope that's not the case. But in either case, excellent dynamic for being able to use all of your heroes. I'm looking forward to this. I really hope it's as good as it reads on paper. I hope they flesh this out properly, and it would be really awesome. The cool thing is that as you complete this tower challenge, you're going to gain what they're calling ponage points, which look like trophies, but whatever. And the higher you climb, the more of them you'll get as you continue on. And then there's, of course, now another shop where you'd be able to spend those ponage points to get certain things back. And the example they provide here is 10,000 ponage points for a Shadow Evo. I have no idea how easy it would be to get 10,000 or not. You would have to, judge this. We'll have to see when it comes out. But it gives you an example of what they're looking at. 200 for a purple Evo, and then 2250 for 5 tokens. At least for Balog, I think it is. But, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it's interesting to see, and I'm super curious about it and very excited. I hope it really does turn out to be as good as it is. But another form of in-game currency. Not that you would buy it, of course. You earn it. I doubt you'd be able to buy it. But it's interesting to see how this would go. So in any case, these are some really cool and fantastic updates that are going to be coming out. I hope this is going to be as good as it reads on paper. I like the whole buying of Evos thing, or crafting Evos, rather. I think that's going to be really great. I'm reserved and cautious about the guilds. just because I know what kind of damage they can bring. But you know what? Bottom line is, end of the day, if the guild is terrible, you just quit and find another one. So not a big deal. I don't mean to harp on it so badly. I just, little cautious with it. And then this Tower of Ponage, I'm just can't wait for that, honestly. I'm really looking forward to this coming out. I want to see what they can do. I have reached the end of the campaign zone for myself, and just have like one more area to clear, and I've been kind of cautiously going through it so I don't run out of things to do. This is going to really open things up, and I'm excited about that. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for coming by to watch the video. I appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. And if you have any, theories and opinions about these updates yourself, please feel free to comment them at the bottom. I try very hard to respond to everybody. You guys have a great day, and I will see you at the next video.